Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Michelle Fondin. I'm the author of the new book, Heal Yourself, A Return to Wholeness, the integration of body, mind, soul, and spirit. Available in paperback, Kindle, and Audible books. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for subscribing below. Click on that bell, scroll up to all for all notifications. And thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. I do readings, 30, 60, and 90-minute readings, romance, life path, and purpose. You can book that at my website, michellefondinauthor.com. Welcome back to the playlist, Your Power to Manifest. Today, we are talking about 3 reasons why your mind is chaos. Do you have a chaotic mind? Do you think a billion thoughts a day? Do you suffer from anxiety or depression? Then this video might be for you because we're learning how to harness the power of the mind in order to manifest the life of your dreams. Okay, so let's get to it. What happens with the mind? I just want to read to you some statistics that are very, very recent. The first statistic, according to the ADAA, which is the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, 40 million US adults suffer from anxiety each year. Now that is 18% of the US population, adult population. In addition to that, 17.3 million US adults, according to the NIH, the National Institutes of Health, in 2017, because that's their latest statistic, 17.1 million suffered from depression. Now, that's not even talking about 2020. There was a special study done by the CDC in June of 2020 that showed, this is alarming, you guys, 40% of all Americans over the age of 18 were suffering from anxiety, depression, or substance use and abuse. 40% of all Americans in 2020. That is an alarming statistic. Now, of course, we were in the midst of a pandemic. We still are. But it is just a testimony with all of these grave statistics to show you the power of the mind for the good and for the bad. Now, here are 3 reasons why your mind might be chaos. Reason number 1, the nature of the mind is to think thoughts. So you might be thinking, oh, this is my fault. I don't know how to manage my mind, and therefore my mind is totally chaos. In my book, Heal Yourself, A Return to Wholeness, I talk about which time zone are you living in. Now, we have the diseases of anxiety and depression that are the most prevalent in the US today. And I would imagine, even though I did not look at the latest statistics, but I would imagine that this is a global problem. It is not unique to the United States. This is a problem of the human brain, of the human mind. It's not a problem that is unique to geographical location, nationality, or ethnicity. In my book, I described that people are either living in the past, in the future, or in the present. Some people combine the past and the future. Now, let me explain. It's good to have memories from your past. It's good to project into the future, like if you're goal setting or if you're trying to manifest your dreams and desires. But the best time zone to be living in is the present moment. Now, the disease of depression is you living in the past. The disease of anxiety is you living in a projected future. It's not real. It's a projected future. It's the what if syndrome. So if you suffer from both anxiety and depression, then you are living simultaneously in the past and in the future, skipping over the present altogether. If you live in the present moment, if you touch on the present moment, then the chaos of the mind starts to calm down. Now, how do you get there? The practice of meditation, which I teach online through a website called Kajabi. You can register for that class below. Or Or you could do a million other things that are meditative in nature. There are guided meditations and music meditations and walking through nature meditations. But a meditative practice, a contemplative practice, which is going to help calm the mind. It's said that we have up to 60,000 thoughts per day, and 59,000 of those thoughts are the same thoughts you thought yesterday. So the mind that thinks thoughts, which is actually the nature of the mind, is to think hundreds of thoughts every minute. And if you've ever tried to focus on something, you know this to be true. Let's say you are in university and you have to read 6 chapters before your next class. And you really don't want to read these 6 chapters. I'll bet, I'm just guessing, based on personal experience, that if you begin to read those chapters for your university class, that within a few minutes, your mind will be wandering and thinking at least 20 to 30 thoughts in the minute that you're trying to focus on the reading material. Because the mind is pretty genius. The mind is designed really, and I talk a lot more about this in my book, I talk a lot more about this in the meditation course, but your mind is trained for survival, obviously. We have survived as a human race, and so the mind is automatically going to go to more negative thinking. It actually takes practice to refocus the mind on more positive and evolutionary thought. So if you're thinking like, why is my mind so chaotic? The reason is because the nature of the mind is actually to think thoughts. That is the mind's job. The mind's job is to think thoughts. And if you think otherwise, then you're not realistic. But there are things, of course, that we can do. As I just mentioned, meditation, silence, contemplation, retraining the mind, which we'll talk about in point number 3. Reason number 2 why your mind is chaos. Reason number 2 is the collective thought. The collective thought or the collective mind. Okay, before you turn the video off, I really want to emphasize this point. Many of you who come to my YouTube channel come for relationship advice, and in particular on the twin flame journey. And we talk in the twin flame journey a lot about the collective mind, the collectivity. Now, if you are an empath, if you are an intuitive, if you are empathic, then you are actually not only picking up on your thoughts, but you are picking up on the collective thoughts. And what does that mean? That means that if just in the US alone, there are 40 million American adults who have anxious and clinical anxiety thoughts all day long, every day, those thoughts are projected out into the universe. And someone who is empathic, someone who is intuitive, is going to capture the anxiety, is going to capture those thoughts, even if you're not intending to. If you don't believe me, let me just give you a prime example of this, because I know, in fact, that you have experienced something like this in your life. Here's the example. You're at a party. There are about 25 people in the party. In the corner of the room, an argument ensues, a heated debate that turns into an argument that pretty soon after that is looking like it might turn into an all-out fist fight. Everyone in that room is picking up on the anxiety in that room, not due to you, not due to what you're talking about, not due to the conversation you were just having with a couple other people in the room, but way at the far corner of the room, the fact that these people are arguing and there's a lot of anxiety rising in the room. All of a sudden, your hair on your arm starts to stand on end, and you're going, do I get out of here? Should I get out of here? And so everybody is collectively picking up on that anxiety, even though it's not their anxiety. This happens too when you're not in a room with someone who is excreting anxiety, but but you can pick up from the collective mind. Now, how do you manage this? Obviously, if you can mitigate your own mind and be able to tell, like, okay, I don't want to live in anxiety mode. I don't want to live in what if mode. So I want to live in the present moment. I want to do my meditative practices and try to stay centered. If you're still feeling anxious, you can ask yourself, are these my thoughts? Is this my anxiety? Or am I picking up on the anxiety of somebody else? It could be somebody close to you. It could be somebody in your family. It could be somebody that you're in a relationship with. And it can also be the collective mind. So if you're finding that you do this little mini analysis and you're like, well, in fact, this is not really my stuff. This seems to be collective stuff. You're better able to then let it go. And I'll give you a last example for point number 2. We are in the midst in 2021 and 2020. It depends on when you're viewing this video, but I'm filming this in February of 2021. We've been in the midst of a pandemic for the last 11 months. And so all you need to do is turn on some sort of news, go on the internet, look at ads, look at even ads on the roadside, and you are constantly being bombarded with messages of why you need to be afraid. Now, does that mean you need to be afraid because we are in the midst of a pandemic? No, it does not mean that you need to be afraid. And in fact, there are people out there, myself included, who can be in the midst of a crisis, in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of a very chaotic situation, and be cool, calm, and collected, and not worried at all. How do we do that? How do people like us do that? Well, it's because we're able to decipher and differentiate what's mine and what's not mine. So I don't choose to take on anxiety that's not mine. And in fact, I even don't choose to take on anxiety that is mine. I live in the present moment. I work through the anxious thoughts that come in, and I let them go so then I can live more fully in the present moment. So it actually is possible to let go of the anxiety of the collective mind. Number 3. Your mind is untrained. Your mind is untrained. I like to equate, and in fact in the book, Heal Yourself or Return to Wholeness, I talk about the mind as being like an untrained puppy. And in fact, you've had your mind your entire life. And chances are, if you're watching this video, you have a chaotic mind. And you have a chaotic mind for the first 2 reasons, but the third reason is also very valid. Your mind is untrained. How can you train your mind? Through the practice of meditation, through the practice of contemplation, visualization, focus, present moment awareness, witnessing awareness, all of the things we learn in the meditation course that I teach. So in my book, I explained the mind is like an untrained puppy. When you get a brand new puppy, you know that that little puppy is so untrained and so curious and so full of life that it will do anything and everything that you as an adult person deem as naughty, right? That puppy's gonna forage through your garbage can. It's going to try to eat your plants. It's gonna chew through the walls sometimes when it's teething. When you take it on a walk, is that puppy gonna walk? No. Chances are that puppy's not gonna walk at all. It's gonna be sniffing everything and everybody in sight. Now, you being the good dog trainer that you are, or a good puppy owner that you are, you're not gonna scold that puppy. You're not gonna be like, you stupid puppy, why are you doing that? Why are you trying to eat garbage? Don't you know any better? Well, no, the puppy doesn't know any better. You're gonna gently guide the puppy. You're gonna teach it what is right and what is wrong, what to eat, what not to eat, who to smell, who not to smell. And when they go on a walk, you're gonna train them that a walk time is for walking. It's not for sniffing everything in sight. The mind is the exact same way. The reason why we have chaos in the mind is because we have not trained the mind. Now, I believe, and what was taught to me through my mentors and my teachers years ago, was that the only way to live an enlightened life, the only way to live so that you can be in the present moment and not live in anxiety, a projected future that may or may not be true, or live in the past, which is depression, when you're living in woulda, coulda, shoulda, the only way to live in the present moment is to train your mind. And it's not to be a prisoner to your mind, but to be the master of your mind. And once you become the master of your mind, the master of your thoughts, the mind starts to obey a little bit better. The mind starts to behave itself a little bit better so that you can have so much more enjoyment out of your life, out of your day, and you won't feel like the mind is just flitting to and fro in a completely disorganized fashion so that you are crippled by anxiety, you are crippled by depression, but that you can look at the things in front of you and truly enjoy your life in each moment as it unfolds. So those are the three things, the three main reasons why your mind is chaos. Of course, there are many other micro reasons, but those are the three main reasons. And if that's not a compelling argument enough to get into some contemplative practice like meditation, then I don't know what is. But if you are in the time in your life where you truly want to start manifesting your desires into reality, and whether you call it goal setting or manifestation or synchrony or synchronous events, it doesn't really matter. What matters is, what do you want your outcome to be? That's truly what matters. What do you want your outcome to be? Do you want to live in anxiety and depression for the rest of your life? Do you want to not be centered? Do you want to feel like you're not accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish in life because you are constantly second guessing yourself because your mind is constantly moving to and fro? You can have the power of focus. I promise you, you can have the power of focus. But just know that when you have a heads up and you understand why your mind is chaos, you can take the steps necessary in order to reverse that. You can take the steps necessary to not have to live in anxiety or depression anymore. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for subscribing to my channel below. Click on that bell, scroll up to all for all notifications, and thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. Thank you for sharing this video with others who are interested in the power of manifestation. And thank you so much for supporting this channel. You can buy a book or 2 or 3. You can also pledge your support on Patreon. www.patreon.com/MichelleFondin, and I will see you in the next video.